The Genesis Communications Network is sponsored by the U.S. Money Reserve, your exclusive source for gold and silver precious metals. Visit them online at usmoneyreserve.com.
The stocks discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering on acting on information, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice.
What kingdom has sent you?
The kingdom of the Most High.
Nothing you have ever experienced can prepare you for the unbridled carnage you're about to witness. The Super Bowl, the World Series, they don't know what pressure is. In this building, it's either kill or be killed. You make no friends in the pits and you take no prisoners. 1 minute, you're up $500,000 in soybeans, and the next, boom, your kids don't go to college and they've repossessed your Bentley. Are you with me?
The Genesis Communication Network is proud to bring you Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week elf, Mark Leibovit, welcoming you on board his financial time machine. And here is the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's Mark Leibovit. Welcome to Wall Street Raw for Saturday, April 2nd, 2016. No other day like it. You have a lot of other choices on a Saturday morning, and certainly appreciate you tuning in to our program. Many of you may recognize me as being a former elf on the old Louis Rukeyser Wall Street Week television program. Oh, that show actually started in the early 70s and ended in the mid-90s. Also was a market monitor guest on PBS's Nightly Business Report with Paul Kangas for, believe it or not, 30 years. You may have read my book, The Trader's Book of Volume, which has been published by McGraw-Hill. In the introduction, we talk about how we've never, ever been caught in a market crash, including 9/11, 1987, and the most recent shakeouts that we've seen in the last few years, including all the so-called flash crashes. If you want more information about me and what I do, the place to go is vrtrader.com or wallstreetraw.com. It goes to the same place. That's V as in Victor, R as in Robert, trader.com. And we tend to be shorter term in the markets. We talk about longer term perspectives and we on the show and in the newsletter. But in terms of day-to-day stuff, we tend to be a little bit more aggressive. And we do that because years ago I was trained and started in the business as a market maker on the Chicago Board Options Exchange, and the fellows that I train with, and this is seems like a lifetime ago, pretty much closed positions out every day. Of course, they were performing a different function as market makers, but still the idea was ring the register as often as possible and look at this business as a way of making a living, not necessarily as a long-term investment or as a get-rich-quick scheme type project. So the inclination for me is with the volatility of the markets, the fact that the markets are rigged, and we've talked about this ad nauseum on the show and in the newsletter. It's manipulated all over the place. All the central banks in the world are doing this, and we get into more of this later or another time, but I've discussed this before. Minute to minute, you really don't know what's happening, and look at the volatility that we've seen in the market that we've had in the last year. You've had two significant market crashes, one in August and one that occurred here that ended in February, and on and on and on. So 2,000 points up, 2,000 points down. If you're in the wrong stock or the wrong group, you suffer. So we feel like if you feel that you've got a winner, take it and move on, look for the next winner, and that's what VR Trader is about. And as a result, we're survivors. Done this for 35 or more years now. Still at it, ranked as a top market timer by Timer Digest magazine. So that's the important factor here. Meanwhile, the market started this past week at S&P 2036. And on Monday, the market opened higher. It hit 2043 and then pulled back into Tuesday morning to 2028. Then the market rallied to a new uptrend high by Wednesday at 2072. And after that, a pullback took the market to 2044, and by Friday, it rallied up to a high of 2075. So for the week, the S&P Dow gained 1.7%, the NASDAQ gained 2.9%, and the Dow Jones World Index gained 1.3%. Economic reports for the week were biased positive on the uptick personal income spending, the PCE, the WLEI, pending home sales, consumer confidence sentiment, Chicago PMI, and ISM manufacturing. On the downtick, the ADP index, monthly payrolls, GDPN, construction spending, plus weekly job claims, and the unemployment rate rose. So in this coming week, reports will be highlighted by the FOMC minutes and the ISM services. Well, during the 2009 to 2015 bull market, we had often tracked world index trends as a leading indicator for potential uptrend reversals in the U.S. This worked out quite well until the market ran to a choppy 2015. This week we took a look at the 20 foreign markets we track and found that all have been in uptrends, along with the U.S. throughout the month of March. And this last week of March, only 35% of these indices have made new uptrend highs. 30% have been trading sideways, and 35% have already been heading lower. Normally, several of these foreign indices will start confirming downtrends before the U.S. rolls over and confirms a downtrend too, and that is what is occurring. 25% of the world's markets are now in confirmed downtrends. My feeling has been, and continues to be, that this rally, though has been tradable, and it's very nice, and it provides volatility for us, is a dead cat bounce, and we will possibly move to new lows in this market this year and at least retest lows. So we'll see how all this plays out. In that same regard, bonds should do better. Remember now what's going on in the world. We've got Mario Draghi driving rates into negative territory in Europe. Japan is in negative territory. There's a risk it can go into the U.S. And keep in mind that the economic numbers that we keep hearing about are not necessarily correct. In fact, I think they are bogus, particularly the employment figures. So we have a financial press, which I'm often critical of since I have a journalistic background. I think it's on the verge of collapse because ideology has permeated hard news coverage, and honest reporting is becoming almost scarce, both in the financial and political circles, and we don't question what's coming out of these statistics, and we just accept them as valid, and you have all these reporters looking to keep their jobs and be politically correct rather than really challenge what's happening. So what's really happening is you have rigged markets, 0% interest rates, essentially. The plunge protection team, which is the working group of financial markets signed into law by Ronald Reagan in 1988 at work. And as long as the markets are up, well, people are happy. They look at their portfolios. They don't care who sits in the White House as long as they see they're making money. And I guess that's what it's all about. And so far it has worked, and I guess it may continue to work. And over time, unless the bubble really bursts in a big way, which could happen through some outlier event, over the years, they'll probably continue to take the markets higher and higher, even though I feel they're going to come down again first. So I guess on a 100-year basis, if you stay fully invested, you'll probably be okay, but as long as you can tolerate the 40, 50, or 60% corrections along the way, which I don't, but if you can tolerate those, then that'd be great, and that's something you should consider to continue doing. Gold has experienced more than a 20% gain here, as you probably know, in the last couple months, and I believe we've just entered a multi-year rise. That said, there are many factors, financial, geopolitical, and even geophysical, that could magnify or exacerbate what gold is anticipating in the coming years. So initial upside targets toward 1,300 have been satisfied. I talked about this here in the last couple, 3 months. I think we got to about 1,270, and it appears we can still have a more of a short-term pullback now. Now we've had a nice little run. Pull back where? Maybe back into the 1100s. Silver has to be watched for another buying opportunity, especially if it retests the lows around that 1350-14 zone. So we're going to keep an eye on that in several weeks. And as far as the overall markets are concerned, remember the adage, sell May, go away. We're already into April, and we've seen in the past how markets top out sometimes early into April. So if you have been bullish and have enjoyed this rally, keep in mind that the clock could be working against you here. We have a lot of special guests here on the show today, starting with Sinclair No on segment 2, so stay tuned and we'll be right back with you.
You're listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
What would your life be like if you woke up each morning with new vitality, feeling better than you have in years, and you noticed a difference in your sleeping patterns, blood sugar levels, and had a sense of well-being overall? There's something that is changing thousands of people's lives, and you could be one of them. It's called Heart and Body Extract. Sharon Harris, co-creator of Heart and Body Extract, talks about the positive effects of Heart and Body Extract.
What happens with the formula Heart and Body Extract is it's giving the body the necessary vitamins, minerals, amino acids, enzymes, and phytonutrients so the body will heal itself. And yes, the body does have the ability to balance blood pressure, balance cholesterol, clean and unclog the arteries. It can also work on balancing the circulation for diabetics. So the body is an amazing thing. It simply needs some help so it has the tools to heal itself.
Heart and Body Extract gets results. To order your 2-month supply, call now, toll free at 866-295-5305. Order online at hbextract.com.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states.
Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Get a ProPure with the Pro 1G 2.0 cleanable reusable filter and remove up to 200 contaminants. Drink water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure products, including the new ProMax shower filter. There's a ProPure for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com or 800-544-3533.
Think positive. Never show any sign of weakness. Always go for the throat. Buy low, sell high. Fear, that's the other guy's problem.
Welcome back to the Wall Street Raw radio show with Mark Leibovit, your time machine for the financial markets. Want to know more? Go to wallstreetrawradio.com. Now, here's the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Back, my good friend Sinclair No from KFNN 1510 Phoenix and author of the popular blog EatTheBankers.com. Thanks for joining us again, Sinclair.
Always a pleasure, Mark. Thank you.
Well, in your blog this week, you said it was time now for the bankers behaving badly section. So that rang bells went off at the office around here. So you were focusing on Brazil. Fill us in how the bankers are behaving badly in Brazil. We know they behave badly just about everywhere else.
Well, by the way, the bankers behaving badly segment is a recurring segment that I've been doing for several years now.
Okay.
And here's the interesting part about it. Of all these bankers behaving badly, none of them have been arrested yet, but we're talking mainly U.S. and European bankers. It looks like they may actually get around to arresting someone in Brazil, and this is actually the world's richest banker, Joseph Safra. His family owns Banco Safra. They control financial and banking institutions in about 19 countries. And this goes back to this big scandal that they've been having in Brazil, where there have been bribes and corruption going on. It looks like it's going to probably topple the government of Dilma Rousseff, the president of Brazil. She might be impeached within the next couple of months. The former president, Lula da Silva, was picked up, not actually arrested, but picked up in regards to taking luxury apartments as part of a bribery scheme. And Safra apparently was in on a 2014 plan with some of his executives at Banco Safra to pay about $4 million in bribes to federal tax auditors. Now, they had some tapped phone calls between Safra and a bank executive, a fellow by the name of João Puga, and tax officials, and they're saying Safra wasn't involved in the actual bribery negotiations, but Puga was reporting back to Safra on the bribery talks. So Safra was very much aware of what was going on and apparently lending his seal of approval to it. This is something we've already seen over 50 executives and politicians arrested in Brazil. Brazil is a major economy. This is the 9th largest economy in the world. And that government looks to be falling apart these days.
Well, looking elsewhere, there's always litigation going around, and we talk about all kinds of events, whether it's bankers or individual companies during these interviews. I noticed that the jury is still out. Actually, they rendered a verdict in the General Motors case this week.
Yes, they did. This was the ignition switches that had been responsible for some deaths and a whole lot of accidents. And there are going to be many more cases, but this was the first one that made it to an actual verdict. And they found that the GM ignition switches were defective, were dangerous, but in this specific crash that was involved in this, it was, I believe, in Louisiana, and it happened on a slippery road with some icy conditions, and the jury said, well, we think that was actually the cause of the crash, even though the switches were defective and dangerous. It was just an icy road condition, so they didn't award any damages in the case. This is kind of a good news, bad news thing for GM. First of all, it is a defective and dangerous switch. They're going to be looking at a lot of other cases that are coming to trial, and so there's your precedent. We have a dangerous and defective switch. Then the question is, did it actually lead to the crash in question? And in many other circumstances where it was not rainy and icy, I think they'll probably find that, yes, it did lead to the problem.
We had two interesting stories this week with regard to the big banks or banks, financial institutions related to the banks. General Electric formally asked to be released from supervision from the Federal Reserve, saying that it has sufficiently shrunk its one massive financial services arm so it no longer should pose a systemic threat to the banking system.
Systemically systemically important financial institution, or SIFI, S-I-F-I. GE had become such a big conglomerate, and over half of its operations and profits were related to finance, away from industrial, which was, really at the heart of the company. They've gone back to their industrial roots, and they're getting away from finance, in part because this idea of systemically important financial institutions required a great deal of regulation. So what GE did is they just started to sell off their financial arms and concentrate on their industrial roots. Meanwhile, MetLife won a case in, I believe it was district court, saying that they don't qualify as SIFI, systemically important financial institution. This is kind of funny, though, because MetLife is always, you've probably seen their ads, we're a big, huge insurance company. We've got global reach. We've got thousands of customers, all these dollars under management. We're huge. That's why you should do business with us. But then when it comes to their designation as systemically important, is what they're really saying in case something goes wrong.
Well, when everything went wrong in 2008-9, they were all jumping in for help, if you remember.
Yeah, of course, the ultimate insurance is the bailouts from the Fed. Right. And that's what we all want to avoid moving forward. MetLife is saying, we don't want to hold our own reserves. Apparently, they don't feel bad about having to go back to the Fed, though.
Sinclair, thank you for joining us. Ran out of time once again. Sinclair No, financial commentator, KFNN 1510 Phoenix, and author of EatTheBankers.com. We covered some of those Eat the Bankers points today, which I'm really happy for, Sinclair. So thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Mark. Always a pleasure.
Thank you again, Sinclair. I have a good friend, Arch Crawford, coming up here on segment 3 from Crawford Perspectives, and we're going to have Eric Haddock join us again from Inside Track on segment 4, so a lot of good information up ahead. Letting you know that I'm going to be at the Money Show in Las Vegas at Caesars Palace. That's May 9th through 12th. We're going to have a booth there and also do a couple of workshops, so if you're on the West Coast and or if you're headed in that area, certainly stop by. There is no charge to attend the Money Show, believe it or not. We just did the show in New York, the Traders Expo, and the one in Orlando here in the last 30 days. So been on the road a bit, but they're good shows and meet a lot of interesting people. So again, the Money Show will be May 9th through 12th in Las Vegas. So stay tuned. We've got my good friend Arch Crawford coming up here on segment 3.
Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at wallstreetrawradio.com. At wallstreetrawradio.com, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth, help you avoid the next big market crash, and also stay healthy to enjoy your wealth. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of the Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com and sign up for his free weekly Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free Gold News Raw report. You will receive both weekly, and both are totally free. No credit card information is required. Sign up today for your free Vice News Raw and Gold News Raw reports at wallstreetrawradio.com. That's wallstreetrawradio.com.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
75 years ago, America suffered one of the worst moments in American history, the attack on Pearl Harbor. Now you can remember December 7th, 1941, with the purchase of the first ever 75th anniversary Pearl Harbor legal tender solid gold coin from the U.S. Money Reserve. Call 1-800-490-3200 right now for the official 75th anniversary Pearl Harbor Legal Tender Gold Coin from the U.S. Money Reserve, the only company authorized to distribute these 100% solid gold coins. Remember Pearl Harbor with this limited official gold release. 1-800-490-3200 or online at usmoneyreserve.com.
This is Sharon Hunt. Before using Heart and Body Extract, my energy level was very, very low. I could only walk a few feet and then would have to sit down. I was tired and lethargic. But after taking Heart and Body Extract, my energy level has improved greatly, and I can now walk longer distances without getting tired so fast. Thank you, Heart and Body Extract.
Learn the secrets of an effective, natural, 100% organic nutritional supplement for a healthy heart and circulation at hbextract.com. For over 5 years, you've been hearing about the Berkey Guy, so you may know a few things about him. For example, you are well aware of the superior quality and effectiveness of Berkey water filters and accessories. But did you know the Berkeys have had independent lab tests done to prove just how effective they are? It's true, and he can email you the test results. Just visit GoBerkey.com. You may also know that the Berkey Guy has helped tens of thousands of people get better prepared. Now here's something you may not know. GoBerkey.com has amazing specials and deals all the time on a wide variety of survival and preparedness products. Most ready to ship same day. Visit the Berkey Guy at GoBerkey.com and be sure to click the red Products on Sale Now button. You can always call toll-free 877-886-3653. Again, that's 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com, home of the Berkey Guy.
Serious investors and traders want to make 81% return in 60 seconds? Use the same secret algorithm professional hedge fund managers use to make billions of dollars of profits. Turn $250 into $4,903 in just 7 clicks of a mouse. Our tool is so simple that my 82-year-old grandmother can use it to make insane stock market profits. Go to BigBuckRiches.com. Watch the free video before the hedge funds make us take it down. Go to BigBuckRiches.com. From the Robert Allen System. Current returns not indicative of future results.
Against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet anything that is thy neighbor.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw. Want to know more about Wall Street Raw and the Leibovit VR newsletters? Go to wallstreetrawradio.com.
Welcoming back my very good friend and special guest, Eric Haddock from the Inside Track newsletter. Eric founded his Inside Track Trading with an express goal of teaching and sharing his work with other traders while informing and educating investors. During the 1990s, Eric was a recurring guest on the weekly show Inside Wall Street and on CNBC. He also provided dozens of podcast interviews, and he employs all kinds of technical analysis from Fibonacci through the Elliott Wave principle since 1982. And Eric has been really excellent on the markets, and we're always happy to have him on our show. Eric, thank you for joining us this Saturday morning.
Oh, thanks for having me back, Mark. Always a pleasure.
So many things going on in the market, but you've got a couple key things that we had talked about off air, what's going on in the gold market, and perhaps a little bit about what's happening in the stock market at the moment as comparing back to a previous time frame. So I'll let you take the microphone.
Okay, well, gold and silver are really slowly validating what I've been discussing the last couple months, and that was that the surge since mid-December had reached its upside objectives, around $16 in silver, up around $12.80 in gold. and had kind of traced out a nice clear 5-wave impulse wave, which to me is just really part of a larger degree sequence. But all those things combined with cycles and a couple of trend indicators gave me sell signals on March 17th and 18th in gold and silver, around $12.65 in gold and around the retest of $16 in silver. And that was showing me that we should see a sell-off into mid-April. And gold's got an initial downside target around 1170, silver around 1440. But there's one signal, one trend pattern that I use in silver that has still not confirmed a major bottom. So that leaves open the door for a retest of the lows. Doesn't guarantee that's going to happen, but it hasn't eliminated that possibility yet. So I'm looking for the first half of April to see some more selling in gold and silver, but that's all part of a bigger bottoming formation that I expect.
So with regard to that bigger bottoming formation, what is your intermediate to longer term expectations?
Well, I think that we're going to see another advance beginning in in late April, and that could continue into the third quarter of this year. But I have looked at 2016 as being kind of the transition year where we would see the first significant rallies in gold and silver, but that it was just the early stages of what I think will be a 2 to 3 year bull market, probably lasting into 2018.
Well, that's exciting. We certainly had a nice recovery here in the last month or two, and I'm sure the gold bugs out there will be excited to hear that. Eric, the stock market has had a bear market rally in the last couple of months, and many, including myself, are beginning to question even that conclusion that maybe with the Fed easing up on their tightening of interest rates and the rumor of a QE4 and negative rates out there, that maybe a bull market has resumed. Where you stand on the markets?
I am still kind of holding to the same expectation that I've described for the last 15 months, and that is that this overall bear market, which I think still is in its development stages, would look remarkably similar to how the Dow Industrials traded in 2000 through 2001, even as the dot-com bubble was imploding and the NASDAQ was selling off sharply. If you look at the Dow Industrials chart, what you saw was 15 to 18 months worth of 2 to 3 month sharp declines, followed by 1 to 2 months strong rallies, and each of those rallies retraced often 80 to 90% of what had been seen in the previous sell-off. And I've been warning my readers for, like I said, since February of 2015, that was the type of pattern I was looking for. There's many reasons factoring into that, technical and fundamental. But the indices have really kind of adhered to that expectation. And it's a frustrating one for bulls and bears, just like it was back in 2000, 2001. It wasn't until the events of 9/11 compounded the bursting of the dot-com bubble that then you saw all of the indices kind of get on board with the sell-off, and late 2001 through late 2002 was a bit more pronounced decline. And even currently, I was just going through some of the comparisons a few weeks ago, excuse me, and, going back in 1999 and 2000, you saw the transports top about 6 months ahead of the others. Same thing happened here in 2014. November 2014, the transports topped. April and May of 2015 is when the other indices topped. In 2000, the Dow Industrials saw 2 significant declines in the first 9 months of their overall decline, with an overall drop of 17%. In 2015 and into January of this year, the Dow did the same thing, 2 significant drops in the first 9 months, overall drop of 16% as opposed to 17%. Back in 2000, 2001, the Dow then rebounded for 2.5 months and gained 15%. What I was saying in March was that if the Dow mimicked that now and saw a 2.5 month rally gaining about 15%, it should advance into early April and up to close to 17,800. Well, the Dow just hit those levels as it entered April. So it's, again, given a perfect parallel to what it saw 15 or so years ago.
Not to mention we're hitting the sell may go away time frame as well.
Yeah, and back in 2001, the Dow then dropped sharply and bottomed 5 months after its preceding double bottom, which goes in line with many of the cycles I've talked about for the current time frame, where June of this year is the next phase of some cycles that I'm looking at. So it wouldn't surprise me to see the Dow drop back down into June. That would give it the opportunity to make another low that's 5 months from its preceding double bottom, the same pattern that we saw back in 2001. And there's more to that analogy, that parallel, and there's a lot of other corroborating factors. It's not just that one thing, and I'm not trying to look at that as being a precise roadmap, but giving traders an idea of what to expect and how to prepare for both the sharp declines and the strong advances.
Eric, we just about ran out of time, and we're going to have to cut it short here, but I think that's a great insight, and I appreciate it. Eric, how do our listeners reach you at Inside Track?
They can go to either of our websites at insidetrack.com with the extra I in the middle. That's INSIIDETRACK.com, or 40yearcycle.com, the number 40yearcycle.com.
Eric, thanks so much for being with us, and I wish we had more time, but great insights, and we'll have you back real soon. Eric Haddock from the Inside Track newsletter. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you again, Eric, for joining us. And we were going to have Arch Crawford up, and he got delayed, but we're going to hear Arch Crawford now in segment 4. He's waiting in the wings for us. Great show today with these very special guests. Arch, in fact, I've known for multi-decades and is one of the leading so-called financial astrologers out there. Great insights. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with Arch.
You're listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week Elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at wallstreetrawradio.com. Here, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth, help you avoid the next big market tsunami, and also stay healthy to enjoy your wealth. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com and sign up for his free Vice News Raw report. You will receive it weekly, and it is totally free. No credit card information is required, and no one will call. Sign up today for your free Vice News Raw report at wallstreetrawradio.com. That's wallstreetrawradio.com for your free weekly report from Mark Leibovit and wallstreetrawradio.com.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS?
Get on board with the Tax Admiral. Don't pick on the IRS alone. I'll cut penalties and reduce your overall tax bill. Sometimes I can even get it zeroed out completely.
We're an A-rated company helping people clean up their mess with the IRS.
If you owe $10,000 or more, then call the Tax Admiral.
Call 800-287-7180. Again, that's 800-287-7180. 800-287-7180.
As if chlorine in our water weren't bad enough, now they're adding ammonia?
It's true. Some municipalities are now adding ammonia plus chlorine to your water supply. It's a disinfectant called chloramine. But with a trusted Big Berkey water filter, you can keep chloramine out of your water. New NSF EPA certified lab tests show EPA Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market. The gold standard in water purification. And our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one that's powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
Remember Pearl Harbor. Now you can buy, for the first time ever, the 75th anniversary Pearl Harbor legal tender solid gold coin from the U.S. Money Reserve. Call 1-800-329-6700 right now or go online to usmoneyreserve.com. 1-800-329-6700.
Responsibility begins and ends with our partners and our shareholders, and that's it.
There is no freedom without the law.
Get it? Got it? Good.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw and the final segment with Mark Leibovit. Now, here's the elf himself.
Welcome back, my good friend for many, many years and special guest Arch Crawford. Arch is recognized around the world for his uncanny acumen. Arch is a sought-after speaker in the U.S., Europe, and Pacific Rim. He authors Crawford Perspective. He's been on Wall Street just about forever. He started with technician Robert Farrell at Merrill Lynch back in the 1960s, and he's done extensive research, and this is really his specialty, astrophysical phenomena and astrology and its correlation to the market performance. He edited and published his newsletter, Crawford Perspectives, for many years, and I'm very pleased to get copies of it. Arch, thank you for being with us.
It'll be 39 years in May. Delighted to be here. Thank you.
They're going to find both of us humped over our computers when it's all over, right?
Well, my heroes, Joe Granville and Richard Russell. Joe died a couple of years ago at 90, and Richard died a few months ago at 91, and they both worked right up until their last week.
All right, so we still have a few years ahead of us then, Arch, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
So, Arch, tell us a little bit about what you're thinking about the state of the world, the stock market, the gold market. We only have a couple minutes.
Oh, no, that's too much.
Okay. You can say up, buy, sell, hold, right?
Right.
So, Arch, fill us in a little bit about where you're at on the markets.
Well, we've had this really exceptional rise coming up out of the lows, but things that are happening with it that we've not seen before in terms of like the number of days up, and like we've had 6 or 7 days up in a row in the Dow Jones, but each day was up less than the previous day except one. So that suggests to me that it's being manipulated up. We also had in the Dow Jones a rising wedge pattern formed. It had a false break to the upside, then a false break to the downside, and now it's back under the bottom of the rising wedge. And all the other indices previous drops or 6.18% of the previous drops. So that suggests that there will be limited further advance in the markets.
When you say the markets could be manipulated, I'm sure that doesn't shock any of our listeners, Arch. So
I'm pretty sure too. By now, they should know that anybody who's watching the market intraday can see it happening all the time. I know that it started a long time ago with the plunge protection team, but they were fairly quiet in the markets from '87, but they've been becoming more and more intrusive in the last 3 or 4 years, and lately it's just total. But I don't think they'll be able to help against when the rest of the world is already entering very serious economic damage. And we've had a lot of large movements in different things. We had the big drop in the oil, and there have been specific days where, like the Swiss unhooked from the euro, and the Swiss went up 30% in like 30 minutes and closed the day up 18%. Now, anybody trading those futures could be easily wiped out because, regular traders only have to put up like 5% for currencies. Some, super traders don't have to put up that much, but if it goes 30% in a few minutes, that's damage that they can't fix. Anyway, things like that are happening around the world. The worst things are like the Baltic Dry Index showing that there's no international trade being done. The ships are all waiting in harbors for orders which are not coming in. And this is extremely serious. The other thing is, in the United States, every time the employment numbers don't look good, they change the method of calculating them so that people who've been out of work more past the payments are not even counted anymore. So we have a 4.9% unemployment rate when the real rate is close to 20 probably, according to people who keep up with the way they used to be counted.
Arch, our listeners have a lot of interest in the gold market. Where do you stand on the gold market? Seems like it's come back.
Well, it is certainly more powerfully good than it's been in a long time. From the top in 2011, it came down for 5 years without ever making a secondary intermediate higher than the previous one. So it was a very steady and serious downtrend. And right now we've got a minor downtrend that's been going since the 10th of March, and that's still maintaining a negative short term. But the long term, the action is better than we've seen in a long time. We are not we're not getting another buy signal yet. We got a buy signal at 11:40, and it's now 12:16. We gave that on the hotlines and took a good profit out of it after it went up to 12.86, I think it was.
Arch, we ran out of time, and we'd love to have you on for a half hour, but we only have a short segment. How do our listeners get in touch with Arch Crawford?
Crawford Perspectives at earthlink.net, or go to the website at www.crawfordperspectives.com. The only other thing I'd mention in a big way is that the U.S. dollar index just had the death cross with the 50-day going below the 200-day yesterday.
Well, that should be bullish for gold in theory, but sometimes these markets move independently. Arch Crawford, Crawford Perspectives, good friend, thank you for being with us, and we'll have you back real soon.
I'm sorry I took up too much of the time.
Not at all. Pleasure having you.
Okay.
don't have to apologize, but we do have a short segment there. So, we can't forget the adage, we talked about this in the interview just a moment ago, sell May, go away, and we're just entered April, and we've seen in some previous years markets tend to top out in April. Most of the press I'm reading talks about April being the strongest, or one of the strongest months, so we'll see how far they could take it, but keep in mind the first couple of days of the month, usually a new 401k money comes to work in the market, so that could explain strength we saw on Friday and possibly extending here for a couple more days. And then, of course, we got Tuesday, which I always characterize as a potential turnaround Tuesday event where markets tend to trade opposite of what they do on Monday. So let's see what happens on Monday from a trading perspective. But certainly there have been a lot of opportunities here in this current rally, but I would not be chasing stocks. I think Arch is sort of mirroring that. Eric talked about that in his interview as well. So there'll be maybe more to April Fools than might readily appear on the surface. And as we've learned, waiting for the inevitable shakeout is really where you want to step to the plate, and waiting until the summer or fall for another buying opportunity makes the most sense, at least where I'm coming from. So I think you got to be a little careful here, but we do trade. We had a pretty good week here at vrtrader.com. Trading indexes, believe it or not, on the short side as well as the long side, and playing some hot names out there. And, of course, you got to go to our website to get all those details. I encourage you to do that. As a final reminder, again, I mentioned this in the previous segment, I will be at the Money Show in Las Vegas May 9th through 12th, hosting a booth there and having a couple workshops. So certainly, we'd love to see you and stop by. If you don't, have you done so on the other shows, like the one in New York or the one in Orlando? So great opportunity to meet and to shake hands and learn a little bit more about my volume reversal technique and strategy and how I evaluate the markets, and get some forecasts, placed for you there. So where we stand with the markets is pretty much status quo. We are really happy to have had Sinclair No again on a show this week, along with my good friend Eric Haddock and Arch Crawford, and we're going to have these guys back real soon. And as I always say at the closing of our show every week, from referring to my good old friend Ed Hart from the Old Financial News Network, we will know in the fullness of time. Speak to you next week. Mark Leibovit from Wall Street Raw.
To Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week Alpha, Mark Leibovit. If you missed any of today's show or to get in touch with Mark, please go to wallstreetrawradio.com. Any stocks or investment discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. We first recommend you seek out a licensed financial professional for advice. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at wallstreetrawradio.com. At wallstreetrawradio.com, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth, help you avoid the next big market crash, and also stay healthy to enjoy your wealth. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of the Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com and sign up for his free weekly Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free Gold News Raw report. You will receive both weekly, and both are totally free. No credit card information is required. Sign up today for your free Vice News Raw and Gold News Raw reports at wallstreetrawradio.com. That's wallstreetrawradio.com.
My name is Don Wiskin. In 1994, I lost my 62-year-old father to complications of bypass surgery. In 1977, my 44-year-old brother was found dead in his apartment. He suffered a heart attack. In January of 98, my mother had a stroke and passed away in her bed. 21 days later, my 53-year-old brother passed away on his arrival to the hospital. He waited too long. In June that same year, I almost joined them at 42. What did I do? I took a 7-herb formula I now call Extendivite, made from garlic, cayenne, bilberry, ginkgo biloba, hawthorn, milk thistle, and valerian. Based on German studies of natural medicine, Extendivite is designed to clear blocked arteries, clean the toxins from your blood, and improve your immune system. To get your Extendivite, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website, heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with